What's up, everyone? It's JJ Zacharyson, the editor-in-chief at numberFire.com. It's April 20th, 2015, and I'm here to talk a little daily fantasy baseball with you. Let's start with the pitchers tonight. We'll go through this pretty quick. Pitching tonight is not ideal. It's not great. The best talent on the mound tonight is probably Jake Arrieta. He's going to be facing the Pirates. He's one of our two favorite options tonight. I think he actually ranks third in our rankings tonight. But he's a strong option, especially in cash games if you're trying to get someone who's just going to more than likely produce and have a good baseline. He's facing the Pirates, though, and it's a really interesting matchup. He's a righty. He's going to get some heavy righty bats against the Pirates with Andrew McCutchen, Starling Marte, and so on. But the thing is that the Pirates started the season off. They weren't hitting the ball well. They had that series against Detroit where they only scored a run in 2 games. This past weekend, they kind of turned things around. But at the same time, you look at their batting average balls in play, and it's very, very low, which means regression is probably coming, which is a little bit scary because the Pirates lineup can do damage. I guarantee you later in the season, we're not going to be looking at this Pirates lineup and saying, let's target that pitcher. So that's one of the main reasons that I'm scared to use Arrieta tonight. I mean, biases aside, I am wearing a Pitt Panthers hoodie, and I am from Pittsburgh, but biases aside, I think that it's really important to look at that and realize that the Pirates lineup is one of the better lineups in the league. So even though they haven't been hitting as well, Arrieta is a decent option just because of the slate. But I would say any other night you probably wouldn't be looking at him as a decent option. I think the best option tonight is Hisashi Iwakuma. He is going to be going up against the Astros in Seattle. The Astros have struck out the most of any team in baseball. Whether we think that's going to regress or not really probably isn't that important because we know that they're still not going to be that good even if they do strike out less. I mean, they have guys in that lineup that have historically struck out a lot, like a guy like Chris Carter and so on. So I think because of that, you have to throw Iwakuma out there. People are going to be a little bit hesitant to use him in general because of the way that he's started. He's had 2 outings so far. He's pitched 11 innings and given up 8 runs. But both of those games were against good offenses, both LA teams. They played the Angels and the Dodgers. So I think because of that combined, I think that it's really important to throw him out there tonight. He's a little bit cheaper than Arrieta is. And I think that he should rack up those Ks, which are obviously very, very important to daily fantasy baseball. Let's move on to the hitters. So we have Arrieta and Iwakuma. The hitters, I think you have to play Miguel Cabrera tonight if you can. I understand it's not easy to fit in that kind of salary into your lineup, but he's playing CC Sabathia. The Tigers have a crazy high team total. That over-under in that game is at 9 right now. The weather could be a concern a little early on, so watch out about that. But Miggy against left-handed pitching, you just have to throw him in your lineup. You really, he sees pretty good splits. He's a 4.15 career WOBA against left-handed pitching, and his ISO jumps up a little bit too. So just given the fact that he has a favorable matchup, the Tigers are supposed to score a lot of runs. I think Miggy is in a great place tonight. Another guy that's in a good place is Matt Kemp. Now, I'm going to be targeting a lot of San Diego Padres bats just because they're playing in Coors and they're playing De La Rosa of the Rockies. So they get a lefty pitcher on the mound who is just terrible against right-handed bats, just completely awful. De La Rosa has given up a 3.49 WOBA in his career against right-handed bats, which is what you get with Matt Kemp. Kemp is going to be a little pricier than other San Diego bats, but I think of the higher-priced options, he's not bad at all. He's actually our favorite hitter tonight within the entire pool. So if you believe in our algorithm, which you should, Matt Kemp should be in your lineup tonight, who also sees pretty nice splits whenever he's facing that lefty pitcher. And then if you want to go a little bit cheaper in that San Diego Padres lineup, a guy that's probably going to be very, very highly owned, but should be very highly owned, is Derek Norris. So his splits are well documented as he was playing in Oakland last year, but one thing is certain is that whenever he does face that lefty pitcher, he can just mash. So he has a 192 ISO against right-handed pitching in his career, or left-handed pitching in his career, and that's a 102 whenever he's facing the other-handedness. And then his WOBA against righties is a 380 when it's a 278 against lefties. So because of that giant split, you see oftentimes decreased salary. So on FanDuel, for instance, I think he's only like $2,800 tonight. So you're going to get a decreased price, which is going to be, it's an obvious value play whenever you get that with Derek Norris, whenever he has that split. So just given that, I think Derek Norris is a must-play, more so of a must-play than Matt Kemp, because, again, you're not spending that crazy salary on the player to get some exposure to that San Diego lineup, playing in Coors. The last guy I just want to throw out there is Mike Aviles. I think, the Indians faced John Danks earlier in the season, and they lit him up for 4 runs in 4.2 innings. Danks is a home run, or gives up a lot of home runs, rather. I think the Indians could do the same to him tonight. Aviles, usually whenever he gets the platoon split, he'll hit higher in the lineup, usually second in the lineup in that really good spot where he can score a lot of runs. I think that he's a really good cheap punt play, really good option tonight, just given that the Indians have a pretty high over-under. Danks is really not good, and they've already shown that, and they lit him up earlier in the year. So I like Aviles. I like Derek Norris, Matt Kemp, Miggy, and then obviously, like I said, Iwakuma at pitcher and Jake Arrieta as well. Stacks, if you're looking to stack some teams in some tournaments, I think that you have to go with the Indians against Danks, as I said. I also like the Tigers against CC. It's kind of hard to not like the Tigers each night given that lineup. And then, like I've been saying with Derek Norris and Matt Kemp, I do like the Padres against De La Rosa. Anytime you can get a team that hits in a pitcher's park moving to a place like Coors, you have to target those bats just because they're going to be a little bit cheaper than what you would see otherwise. So that's it for tonight, guys. If you have any questions, go over to numberFire.com, hit up the question section of the site, or go to the app. We have an app where you can ask some questions and get some advice as well. And other than that, good luck tonight.